such a shame that we also have to mention things in 2020, that Godfather, and on what basis do people just give work to somebody without even having to go through the grind? We don't have that kind of PR machinery that most kids in the film industry have. And I've always believed very, very strongly in karma. Trust me.
Yeah.
This life. Life. Why are people fighting? Like, okay, they are fighting because they feel it's a cause. I don't think it's a cause. It makes no difference to my life because it never did. If you have a problem, speak about it on a platform which is not Instagram.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Midday.com. I'm Supriya Nair, and I'm in conversation with the extremely talented Ahana Kumra. Thank you so much for joining us, Ahana.
Thanks, Supriya. And I like the fact that you've introduced me as talented and not the beautiful and the bubbly and the vivacious. 100 other adjectives that everybody's always associated with.
I have to start by congratulating you for the immense success of Khuda Hafiz. You've been appreciated a lot for your character, Tamina Hamid. And more than a month after the film is released, people are still talking about it. So how does it feel?
I think it feels great. First of all, thank you. And I'm really grateful to each and every person who's watched the film. Honestly, this is really like my first foray into a commercial Bollywood space, I would say, with Khuda Hafiz. And I was very scared, taking a step into this space because I've never worked in it. I didn't know how to tackle, a world like this. And I think I'm only too grateful to Farrukh for writing, an experimental character, even in a commercial space for a woman. He thought of an Arabic woman who could wear a hijab and still do action, speak Arabic. It was definitely an experiment from, I think, both ends. And I think that kind of worked very well. I got a lot of people messaging me on my handles, about how they've never seen a character like this. They've never seen a woman in hijab do action. And I think it was, just pretty magnificent that, that although I felt that I would not be able to be comfortable in this space, I really felt at peace and I felt at home in that space as well.
Like, this is the first time, like you said, you're doing action for the first time on the big screen. That too with an action hero like Vidyut Jamal, in the frame. So what was that like?
I didn't really get to work with him. I wish I had a scene with him where I could do action and kick some villain ass. But having said that, he came on the day I was doing my action sequence. I was in a long hand-to-hand combat action sequence with Shiv Pandit, who's my character and friend and colleague in the film. And so, he came to the set and I think we were shooting in Khiva, and I remember Vidyut standing there and he's like, listen, if Shiv tries to do anything, now just kick him. So he was like, pagal ho jate. The minute they hear the word action, they go like a little crazy. So if he gives you like a choke slam, just, you know where to kick him. I said, yeah, okay. So it was really funny that Vidyut said that. But I think what's really nice about most of Vidyut's films are that the women are always doing a lot of action. Even in the previous Commando series, I've seen a lot of women do a lot of action. Yeah. And Andy, the action director who he works with, he's very, very interesting because Andy, he's a Vietnamese action director, lives in Germany, and he works with like a little crew of about 7 or 8 people from his stunt crew, and they all came to Khiva. They did our action training first. They saw how much strength I had as a person, what were my weaknesses, what were my strengths, and accordingly he choreographed the scene between Shiv and me. He shot the entire thing with, as a DOP. He edited it. He taught us the moves. He basically went ahead and did everything. He made me comfortable. He made me not feel even once that I've never done action. So there were lots of things that he put at ease for me. If there was a question, he always had an answer for it. And I've not seen that a lot with a lot of action directors in India. They usually don't have answers to questions because we are not equipped as Indian women, as Indian actresses to do action sequences, because that's something that is not inherently scripted for us in cinema. This is something that is it's novelty for us. It's new for us. We're still trying to find our steps in it. So we need someone to hold our hand through it. But again, I've never worked in an action space. This was really my first time. And I got to work with somebody who understood that medium, who understood me and literally like held my hand through it. So I feel indebted to, Farrukh. I feel indebted to Andy. I feel indebted to, Vidyut for putting these people together for all of us, to experience this kind of this kind of a world.
Even coming to your accent, it was so bang on. Like you pulled it off so effortlessly. Was there any kind of specific prep that you had to do for that?
Yes, there was. So I was cast very late into the film, literally a week before the film went on floor, and it was very challenging because I had to prep my Arabi literally in that period of time. When I came on the first reading, I remember everybody had their accents in place except for me, and I was so nervous because I was sitting right next to Anuji, and Anuji was speaking like in his accent, and I was like, oh my god, how will I get this right? I was very nervous, and I was like, oh my god, I better pull my socks up. So there was a university professor from Kalina University. He's a Arabic professor. He would come to my house, take lessons with me for about 2 to 3 hours every day. I would write the entire thing in Hindi because that's how I learn another language. I write everything in Hindi because I can't read Roman. So it was, I had to literally like translate everything he said, and then we would work on a sentence for like really long because speaking Arabic is not there's a lot of sounds you need to produce from your throat. So there's a lot, and then he wanted my English and my Hindi to sound Arabic. So I watched this show called Fauda. I watched The Spy to get that kind of confidence to to see what the actors in the West do when they have to do accents and speech patterns. So I heard a lot of that. Then Farooq started speaking to me in the same way. He was like, just don't feel inhibited. Speak to me in this way. So he started talking to me in that accent. So then for me to respond to him was just, it became normal. So I think like at some point of time, I had completely forgotten that, when I would come on set, I would just start talking like that. So I just think it became like second nature. So I think that's how the process became easier.
Does it come to you, the accent, like, say, for instance, you're, in a normal conversation, for instance, you remember something and...
The one thing that I noticed that I have seen a lot of women actors don't do in India is that they don't change their voice. This is my voice. But if you see in the film, I tried to use a bass voice because I was like, I don't want to use my voice. My voice is on a nasal note. But when I'll speak in the film, I'll speak in a bass voice. I'm going to try to change my voice because that is something that I don't see a lot of women do. So that was definitely an experiment. That was something that I was trying to do. And I think it kind of worked. So, you need to keep these things also in mind that as an actor, we don't always need to experiment only with our looks or our body. We also need to experiment with our voices. We need to experiment with a lot of other things, which I think gets very easily forgotten. So I'm glad that I tried that experiment. It worked because I think Farooq was very happy with the way I hardly even dubbed for the film. I've done like literally 2 or 3 lines of dubbing, and they've used the actual voice that we've shot with. So I think that says a lot because I was very happy that my director was happy with my work.
Certain scenes often stay with actors, long after ththey've shot them. Was there any such moment like that in Khuda Hafiz?
Quite a bit. Actually, I have to share this with you. So, of course, the action sequences and everything was really great. I was driving the car in Uzbekistan, and it's, we are right hand, they are left hand. So I had to always make sure that I don't bump the car or, bang the car into another car because our turns are all right, their turns are all left. So it was very confusing when I used to be driving. But I specifically remember 2-3 things that really kind of have stayed with me. First and foremost, my death sequence where I was buried into, when I was buried. So they dug like a 6 feet grave, and I was put into a white color sheet. They tied my legs, my hands, and I was completely immobile. It must have been 2 degrees or 1 degree maybe that day. And when they dug that grave and they put me, it became even colder. Like down there, it was freezing. Must have been -5 or -6 down there because it was so freezing. It was really freezing, and I could not move. And that entire scene took about 2 hours to shoot, and I lay there in that grave without moving a muscle, and it just felt weird. Like it just felt strange. I felt very weird.
It sounds
being.
scary though, like, being inside a tomb like a burial.
As actors, we go through so many emotions and we go through so many moments in our life, and so many things pass by our minds when we are in a certain scene or situation. I mean, anybody who's ever experienced a grave scene or any scene like that, that's how they must have felt. So it just felt weird to be in
Right.
a grave
True,
with
true.
everybody, like, screaming, shouting, doing their work, and I'm just lying down there freezing. Farooq was very sweet because he noticed that I was freezing, so he quickly sent a carpet, and they put a carpet under me, so I was still a little warm, but it was freezing inside that. Another thing, like another great experience that I had during Khuda Hafiz was that I was shooting my action sequences in a city called Khiva. And to get to Khiva, basically, like, Uzbekistan is a very difficult country,
Mhm.
language wise, traveling wise. You can't get to a city very easily as per your whims and fancies. There are very specific timings of flights that take off and land in a certain city. So,
Okay.
in order to get to Khiva, you need to go to Tashkent. There's only one flight in a day, about thrice a week, and that flight is either it's an evening flight that goes to Tashkent, from Tashkent to Khiva, and you land in Urgench. There's a city called Urgench. You land there. You go by road to Khiva, which is another 1.5 hours from there. And our locations used to be really far away from even Khiva.
Mm.
So I remember there was a goof up. I had to be in London for another film, and my manager thought that I was in Tashkent shooting while I was shooting in Khiva. So there was a huge, like, oh my God, Ahana has to shoot on that day. How can you, like, whatever? And I'm like, I am supposed to fly out of Tashkent and go to London. How am I supposed to do this? So there were fireworks on the set, and my director was angry, and my action director was like, no, I've planned this on this day for her. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, I'm going to miss my flight. How am I going to do it? So then I think Farooq, because he knew Uzbekistan at the back of his hand, he knew that country so well. He had done such a thorough recce of that country. He was like, okay, you finish shoot at 2 o'clock, you take a car, drive to another city called Nukus. There's a flight there at 8 o'clock. You take that flight, you get to Tashkent, you wait, 5-6 hours, and then take your flight to Russia and then fly to London. So for me, that day of travel was just like, I was like, how many time zones have I jumped? How many cities have I? So I think
Oh my God,
mostly,
that
like,
sounds
yeah, that's something I'll
insane.
never forget.
Anna, while this film is something that we would have loved to see on the big screen, with all the action there, don't you think it's also a huge plus? It got such a wide audience and such a wide reach because of an OTT platform.
Everybody watched it. Everybody watched it
Right,
within 2 days. Like,
right.
everyone. I kid you not. I've never had so many people message me for a film that I've done.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah.
This is the kind of reception I have never received in my life. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm glad that it was released on an OTT, and I'm glad it was released on Hotstar, because everybody had access to Hotstar. Everybody watches that. I was like, wow, this platform's really popular. Like, everybody has watched it.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you, like, I'm shooting for something, and that's really long hours of shooting. By the time I get home, I'm so tired. I don't want to look at anything. I was like, the film released, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch it maybe tomorrow, day after, because I need to, like, I don't have the time right now. I'll watch it around, say, at leisure, whatever. And then by the time it was 11, my inbox started exploding. And I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to sleep. Let me just watch the film. I watched the film at 2 o'clock. And in like 2 days, my inbox has exploded. People have called me, messaged me. People who have never seen any work of mine have called me and,
Wow.
give me your feedback. And I was stunned. I was like, oh my God, like, everybody's watched the film. So I think it was really, really good.
Coming to your next film, I want to ask you, what are the rules of the game?
There aren't any. I wish there were. We've all failed so miserably at the rules of this game, but and I think most of the people will agree with me. But I think it's a very interesting script. This was shot about a year and a half ago. There weren't any exhibitors. There wasn't anything happening. The film wasn't moving forward. And now I suddenly feel like there's so much work I've done, because I've constantly been having a release after release after release. And I'm just like,
Right.
oh my God, I've really done that much work, because there's constant releases, there's constantly something happening. And I feel grateful, because right now, because of the lag in the 5 months of not being able to shoot something new, all the work that probably would have not come out or would have probably not seen the light of the day is actually seeing the light of day now. So
True,
I'm
true.
only grateful that so much of content is being released. So with Rules of the Game, it's an anthology. It's called Forbidden Love, which is 4 short stories by 4 really great filmmakers. Ours being directed by Tony Da. Chandan Roy Sanyal is paired opposite me in this. It's about a couple, about a husband and wife, a young couple. The wife's at home. She's bored. So I don't know if you've ever been by train, if you've ever traveled by train, or if you've ever been to those sites where you see people engage into lottery tickets, or they
Right,
get
right.
into that wala games and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
She gets engaged in these games. She starts playing these games by these roadside vendors. And one day she comes, yeah, and then she
yeah.
comes home and tells her husband, she's like, listen, I think we should do something to spice up our life. Let's play a game. And he's just like, have you gone mad? Who the hell even goes and plays with those things?
Yeah,
Those men are mad. Don't please do that. So it's usual. And the woman is like, no, let's just make our life fun. Let's make it interesting. Let's do something fun. And I think their life becomes a game. And he engages, she engages, and then this entire thing kind of blows out of proportion and it just goes berserk. And it was an insane script. When I read it, I was just like, what is this? Like, what just happened? So I think it was really cool that he thought of a story like this. Ghazal, who's written the dialogues of this film as well, she wrote dialogues for Lipstick. So Ghazal and I
Oh,
get
wow.
along very well. Yeah,
Okay.
so I think it was really a good collaboration working with Ghazal again. Chandan, again, he's crazy. He does very out of box work.
Yeah.
His roles have always been very, very, at the edge, very, very edgy roles. So I've always wanted to collaborate with Chandan. I'm so glad I got to work with him on this. And Tony Da, the beauty about doing this film was that Tony Da let us be. He'd tell us like, this is the scene, this is the scene, this is the space. Do you want to experiment? And then he would just let the camera follow us. So we
Okay.
were never told ki aise hi karna hai, aise hi karna hai. He would just be like, just do and let me see what you guys bring to the table. And then, so I think it was a great experiment. And I'm only too grateful that, that we got to work like this, because it's rare that you get to work in spaces like these.
Was there any specific prep that you had to do for this role in particular?
Not really. I think there was a lot of experiment that was done on set, a lot, and we just we would just do
Improv.
takes after takes after takes after takes, and yeah, and we would just keep improvising, and then something or the other would come out. So I think that was very, very cool that we did that, because you don't really get so much time to experiment. So we
Right.
would give a lot of time to a scene, and I think that was really cool that we didn't like rush from one scene to another. It was
Mm-hmm.
always like, let's take time, let's do it. And I think that's the way he likes to work.
Right from short films to web series, mainstream Bollywood movies, and even a Tulu film, you've explored several avenues. Was that a conscious decision that you made?
I don't think I've ever made any conscious decisions, honestly. I've just gone with the flow. Even like I'm surprised that you even know that I've done a Tulu film. Good luck.
Yeah. Good luck.
That's
Good
what
luck.
it's called. Good luck. I was in Mangalore for that film for about 2 months, and it was a film on kabaddi. And it's so weird because the minute I finished that film and I came back, I got Star Sports Pro Kabaddi to host. So I think like a lot of things have just happened in my life without me having to think of it. It's
Yeah.
just been like a long ride, I've just been like, oh, okay, now I'm on this. Oh, okay, now I'm on this. It's very like, I don't really think everything through. And you won't like, I'm not bragging about this, but there's lots of times when a lot of actresses have said no to roles and I've got those roles. There was a role, Inside Edge was one such role. There was an actor who was supposed to do that. She walked out and I got a last minute call and they were like, can you come in? And I was like, yeah, I'll come. I'll do it. And then even with Khuda Hafiz, it was somebody was supposed to do that part. And then that part got, that person didn't do it. And then suddenly I got a call and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So, it's always been like, I just think like my yes man behavior has worked in my favor.
You are someone who has come out on their own in this industry without any godfather, with sheer hard work and dedication to your work. So how does it feel when there are certain things that are happening around you, when you see it like injustice or something like that? How do you look at it? What is your perspective on that?
It's such a shame that we also have to mention things in 2020 that Godfather and
Right.
all sorts all sorts. So, I
Exactly.
mean, what are we living in? I mean, I feel sad to even speak about these things. Aren't you supposed to get work basis your hard work?
Merit.
I mean,
Right.
most industries supposed to work like that. How do you move forward if you're not good at your job? And what do? You stick to mediocrity all your life. How do you give roles to people just because you know somebody? I feel like that's a shame. That says so much about any industry. And I'm not trying to put anybody down here, but I feel that the best way to go about, if you are in, I mean, how can you be a good doctor if you can't save a patient? You can't
Yeah.
be some surgeon's son and then have magical hands, no? I mean, you have to work, you have to take your medical test, you have to give your entrance exams, you have to study medicine. And the
Right.
same procedure has been followed in my case. uh, I don't have anybody from my family. My parents belong to a pharmaceutical background and a police background. There's no film background from for eons in my entire khandan. But having said that, when I decided that I wanted to work in the film industry, it was basis because I went to a film school and got educated in that
Right.
space. I took training because I didn't know how else to go about with it. I didn't know anybody. Even after my training, my film school did not really line up jobs for us. We had
Yeah.
to do so many odd jobs. My first job was of a casting assistant. I worked with Shanu Sharma as a casting assistant on My Name is Khan. I worked on so many ad films as a production assistant. I worked on films as an AD. I did everything before I actually narrowed down to finally doing work
Right.
in cinema myself. So
Right.
I don't understand that on what basis do people just give work to somebody without even having to go through the
Audition.
grind. And I still audition. I do audition for everything. I have not got a single job without an audition.
Right.
And how do people get work without auditions or without any kind of struggle that we all go through? We are still going through those kind of struggles.
Right.
So I don't think we ever make it. We never make it. At least those who don't have any backing or support, we never make it. We always go through auditions, we always go through processes. I still don't know any directors, I still don't know any producers. Only those who I've worked with I know, but that also is on a very cordial note. So I just don't understand this realm. So this question is so redundant to me, that without any backing, or there shouldn't be any backing. Make it on your own. That's the life well lived.
We saw one instance where Khuda Hafiz was not included in the promotional campaign, by the OTT platform. So, as an actor, have you faced any such injustice like that? Anything that you've gone through personally?
Even if I probably have, I haven't noticed it. I'm quite silly. I'm a silly goose, I'm telling you. I don't come to know about so many things. That's because I'm not paying attention to those things. And I think I'm
Mhm.
learning on the job, of course. I'm getting aware of a lot of things around me because I'm on the job. But I'm not somebody who sits up and takes notice because I'm so busy lining up my next job or
Right.
concentrating on the one that I'm involved in at the moment. But yes, having said that, if something like this would have happened to me, it would have hurt me as well. You take very long. And I think that's exactly what Vidyut said, that you work so hard, but the last thing that they even do is acknowledge you. We
Yeah.
don't have that kind of PR machinery that most kids in the film industry have. The only thing we're asking you is like, okay, you don't want to treat us equally, but just acknowledge us, man. Even we
Mhm.
exist. It's just that. So I feel
Right.
acknowledgement is key, and behavior is key.
True.
Treatment is key. These things are key. These things is what you'll remember. And I've always believed very, very strongly in karma. Trust me.
Yeah.
This life. Retain this life.
Apart from a lot of livelihoods also being affected in the film industry, recent events have put its reputation at stake. What is your take on that kind of things people are saying about it?
I don't know what kind of reputation the film industry is getting, but I get a lot of calls from a lot of people saying that, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. But that's again because I've not worked in the film industry. I've never worked in the mainstream. I don't know anybody. So, all these wars that happen, I go like, why are people fighting? Like, okay, they are fighting because they feel it's a cause. I don't think it's a cause. It makes no difference to my life because it never did. So how is it going to affect somebody when it has never affected me in general ever? My battles are mine and I choose them wisely, and I do not want to comment on those battles which are not mine because that doesn't matter to my life. I would like to maintain my sanity over anything else.
Social media is the only place that people could go to during the lockdown, and it has been used and abused in so many ways. What is your perception on the current trend that's been going on social media?
Yeah, I tell you something. I honestly feel that if you have a problem, speak about it on a platform which is not Instagram. Because on Instagram, you don't want to talk about what you're feeling, or I just think like it's a platform just to like put up happy pictures. Everybody just wants to look happy. Everybody wants to look very, oh, I have a fabulous life. Oh, I have so many followers and I have this and that. Just treat it like that. Don't take it too seriously. I think people have taken these platforms too seriously. Just don't take your life seriously. Don't take this world, this virtual world is it's such a fix. You waste so much time because you're always online. I don't know how people have so much time. Like, don't they have like, maybe they have servants coming in. I don't. So I'm really busy cleaning my house. But I don't know how people function. I don't take these things seriously at all. I don't engage. When you're disengaged, there's no chance anybody, you've completely taken away their power to say anything to you. Disengage.
Right. Coming to, the future projects that you're doing, what else are we going to see you in apart from the rules of the game?
I'm doing a comedy show at the moment. I'm shooting for it currently. And this is my first foray into comedy. And that's going to come out in Diwali, most likely. Well, I can't really talk about it at the moment, but it's a really fantastic show. We are shooting it like a play. We are rehearsing it like a play. And, writing is king. Content is king. It is so amazing because I've got like the funniest cast put together. And it is such a riot to finally work with all the actors who have worked on stage, because we shoot so many scenes a day, but we do blocking of the entire episode on an entire day, and then we shoot an entire episode the next day. So it's been such a crazy process to shoot this, and it's just the one thing leads to another. There's so many things that happen like on set, and things change, and I've just found so much joy in this process of learning a new genre which I hadn't ever experienced before this. So yeah, I'm really, really, really loving it.
I don't know how long it will be before everything gets over completely, but once restrictions are lifted completely, what is the first thing that you'd want to do?
Actually, I want to go to the Everest base camp, which I was supposed to go to in March. I was prepping for it for a long time. But can I tell you, the lockdown has done wonderful things to me. Like it has, helped me meditate, which I never did in my life. I think it finally led me to meditate. The second thing that I did was that I'm so heavily tanned, if you can see. I cycle, I run, I do so much outdoor early in the morning. I wake up at 6 because I've been waking up since March at 6 a.m.
Wow.
and going for my runs or going cycling. And I come back home before 8-9 o'clock. So, then I'm home the entire day. Then I don't go out anyway because I've got my son and I've got like everything. It's brought so much joy. And I was tanned like this when I was in school. And this is like a tan that I've repeated straight after school. So I'm just loving it. And I was just like, oh my God, like I wish, Bombay could stay the same. I just wish.
That's so awesome, Ahana, and just so lovely talking to you. Wishing you all the best for Rule of the Games and for the upcoming comedy show. Hope to see you soon once the lockdown is over.
Yeah, let's hope. I'll come to your office.
Yeah. All right, Ahana. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.